and welcome entrepreneurs and creatives to show up big and connect with their people. Today we're going to finish the two-part series that we started on whether or not you need a logo. And we decided yes, 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 you need a logo, except perhaps you creative people, because I like signatures of creative people, because your art is evolving perhaps sometimes, or you have a certain style. But to me, if I were creative, I wouldn't want to lock in with a logo. I would just want to use something very simple and then brand all your stuff with it. So with that exception, so I have to admit, I got caught up looking for these older logos on my logo journey. And one of the things I want to share is you got to try to be organized. Like, I know when you're starting out, it's really kind of busy. It's a little bit crazy. You're not sure what to do, but try to be a little bit organized, because the value of seeing what you've created and seeing the transition, one day you're going to look at it and you're just going to be like, wow, I really did some stuff. I really learned some things. I really grew. And that's priceless, right? So I got caught up in the process of looking at these old logos and trying to find the old stuff, because I wasn't very organized. I mean, I was organized, but I didn't think I would ever come back to looking at all the at the different logos. So I didn't really do a good job of keeping them in a consistent place. But I found a few of them, and so I thought we'll just wrap up with what I have. I can tell you a little bit about where my mindset was when I did them. And the main thing to know is that just pick something. Just pick something to start. Why? Because it's going to change. I assure you. Unless you just don't, unless, I don't want to say you don't care, but unless you're happy with it and you just don't look at it again, and you're not really promoting in a big way. If you're promoting in a big way, you're going to want to have something that represents you. Um, and and so I think some companies just keep the same logo forever. So I mean, you might want to go to someone and have them do your logo. I didn't really have the ability to do that, so I did my own stuff. But hopefully, what I found is that I did a couple times on this journey. I have gone to like people like Fiverr, and I've paid them to do logos for me, and they didn't hit the mark. They were too they just weren't. I felt like they didn't look as good as the ones that I did myself. So I encourage you to be creative. If you're completely just not creative, then hire somebody. But um, I I feel like there's more to the logo, to me, at least in my experience. Somebody else may tell you something different, but in my experience, there's more to the logo than just slapping something up there that says your company name. For me, it was personal. If it's a bigger enterprise you're starting, maybe it's not so personal. But for me, it was personal. So um, I took a journey with this logo. It wasn't like I was like, hey, I knew what I was gonna do and this was it. This was really a journey. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna show you this one page that I was able to pull together with some logos. Okay. So this is okay. Let me see if I can make this bigger. I couldn't find the really beginner logos, the first ones. Oh my gosh, I wish I could find those. This used to be a phoenix. This used to be a phoenix, the actual bird phoenix, and I had to look. I just wish I'm going to do this. I am going to find every single one of those older logos and put them in some type of thing, because I really think it's important for people to know that stuff doesn't have to be set in stone when you start. I think a lot of people just don't do things. They don't promote, or they don't pursue their dreams. They don't pursue things that you think you might want to do, because you think that it has to be perfect when you start. And if there was one thing that I could just communicate to you, to the world, it is that just start, because it is going to change, and it's okay for things to change and evolve. It's okay. I don't know whose bright idea was to think, oh, it has to be perfect. It doesn't. The thing that has to be is you have to be in motion. And if you're letting a logo stop you from being in motion, that's the problem. It's not the logo. Just put it together as best you know how, and then keep it moving. And as you transition, as you grow, you figure it out. So like that. So like, for example, for me, so Rise with Crystal, my name used to be Crystal, and with Crystal was born out of a time in my life where I was just going online and doing videos. And the reason I was doing videos is because I felt stuck in my life. I felt like it wasn't progressing. I did not know what to do. And I was associated with a group that was doing live videos for marketing purposes. And they said, pick some topic, be vulnerable, and go live every day. And so I did that for a while, and I didn't have a logo. I didn't know about branding. I didn't think about branding. I was just going out live, and it was a weight loss journey, right? I'm like, been on that forever. I actually may go ahead and do a show, but so the Rise with Crystal came out of my personal growth and thinking of like the phoenix, the mythical phoenix that burned itself up to ashes and then reborn. It came out new and reborn. And so I felt like this process, I was in effect saying, you know what? I need to just do something different. I need to be different. And so everything I was sharing was part of me rising from the ashes. And so Rise with Crystal was a very personal, very self-reflective type journey that I was attempting to brand so that I could help people to recognize me, I guess. I had it on my Facebook and different things like that. If you've been following me for a while, you probably remember it. And it had different pictures of me and stuff on there. And that worked, but it really wasn't a commercial thing. It really wasn't for business per se. Um, it was more of a journey and more for education. And maybe over the length of time, it may have become commercial in the sense that maybe would have done some coaching or something like that, but it just wasn't very commercial. And so then I met a friend, and we were just kind of talking about, and they were looking at the work that I had been doing as marketing and the stuff that I was doing, and they were like, yeah, you know what, I mean, Rise of Crystal is cool, but you need something a little jazzier. Like, what about Get Crystallized? Because it was based on my name, right? And so I was like, oh, I like that. I like that. Because it really was more about um, changing and getting clear on who you are, what you think, and then conveying that outward. So I had a wellness arm, so to speak, section of my business. I had a what would I call it? A spiritual arm or vertical. Let's call them verticals. So I had a wellness vertical and a spiritual vertical, and then I was doing some marketing, right? And I was trying to do all three businesses at the same time under the umbrella of Get Crystallized, because for me, it was all about clarity. So you'll see when I first started with the logo, I liked the diamond. I liked the circle because it was kind of like my whole life. I like the diamond because of the one, it's a crystal. Two, of clarity in the diamond. I also like the multifacetedness of a diamond. I also like that it was tough and beautiful at the same time. So there were so many dynamics in that diamond that it just fit perfectly for me in terms of conveying what I want to convey. Now, I didn't have any marketing, guru say, oh, yeah, that's perfect. But I felt like it's good. And I would encourage you that you don't always have to have a guru to tell you something is right, because really, you know what you need to know. The problem is you don't know that you know what you need to know. And that's when we go out and we find different people. And that's a whole nother. I got this Uru. I have a Uru brand. It's about Uru. You don't have to be, you can be your own guru, but that's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother thing that's out there. But so think free. So I wanted to take that branding. So here, I'm not sure which one came first, but I know clarity is power was my what do you call it? Was my kind of my tagline, because the clarity of the diamond, clarity in my thinking, clarity in my understanding of who I am. It was all about clarity. So if we were talking about wellness, it was about understanding how to be healthy and to be well, and understand it because of complexity. And that's really what was driving me, was this whole how everybody makes everything so freaking complex when really you really just need some basic understanding. That was like my overall overarching motivation was like, God dang it, I'm sick and tired of people giving me 1,000 different things I need to do to be healthy, 1,000 different things I need to do to be well, 1,000 different things I need to be wealthy. God dang it, can't somebody just tell me what I need to do? I'm sick of this stuff. I'm sick of you selling me 15 different, programs and classes. Just tell me what it is. Just tell me, right? I was impatient. I mean, not impatient, but just tired because I started to see a pattern in things. Like, so like with health and wellness, it's like what I discovered is like everybody's got a program, everybody's got a special name they put on top of stuff. But at the end of the day, you got one body. It functions, pretty much the same way. And what I was able to perceive is that, a lot of these companies, they take one little piece out of the complex organism that is you, they hype it up with marketing, and then they have you buying some stuff. And it's never ideal for everybody. Everyone's unique. So I was just sick and tired of all this crap. And I was just like, look, I just want to be clear. Just give me some clarity. Clarity is power, right? So that's where my head was at. I was like, man, I'm sick of this. And then, so the think free. So then after that, I was like, man, I was looking at the logo and I was like, this is really not, it's still not really, I mean, it doesn't say anything. It doesn't tell anyone what I do, right? And I was deliberately a little ambiguous because I was doing multiple things, which every professional will tell you, don't do that. But I felt like it was important. And I was like, you know what? I'm not listening to you guys. I'm going to have my own journey and I'll figure it out. And it might take me longer, but I'll really understand versus have somebody just tell me to do something. Right. So then, so now I thought, man, how can I make people really get me? And so then I added the think free, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to think free, and I wanted other people to think free. I wanted to provide you with some data and information, and then have you or have myself take ownership and make a decision about the thing. And I was sick and tired of, people trying to tell me what I need to do. I was just like, can you just give me the detail? Give me the facts and I'll make my own decision, just the facts, ma'am. So that's when I added the think free, because I felt like clarity is power. It is, but I didn't have it. It's really not resonating with anybody in terms of what do I do? Why should they connect with me? What's the information? I had this ambiguity in the logo and in this brand. And so I was trying to work through like, okay, how can I make this more, where people understand what I'm doing? So I said, oh, think free. And that worked out well for the spiritual part, right? Because I had a YouTube channel and it was Rice Christian. Actually, I had a decent amount of followers. It wasn't like 1,000, but I was like, oh, I looked back the other day when I was preparing for this and I was like, oh, I got some followers. I did good. And that's another sidebar encouragement is you're doing better than you think. You really are. We're always so hard on ourselves, but you're doing a whole heck of a lot better than you think you are. So give yourself a break. So then, and so there's a whole group of logo transitions between here and here that I couldn't find them, or it would have taken me hours. And this would have been like a 10-part series and I still wouldn't have them all. So I thought, well, I'm just going to pull up this last one. So the transition between, so I added the color just because this is my favorite color. And I wanted to jazz up the diamond. I felt it looked too generic. It was too common, and that it could be easily replicated and somebody else could be confused with my brand. So I was trying to, kind of distinguish my brand from others who might want to use that very common, type shape. So, so I added the color in the middle, and then it just said, I added agency because people would see my car and they'd be like, oh, well, that get crystallized. What do you do? And I'd be like, oh, right. That's a good point. You don't know what I do. So I added agency here, and then I had marketing at the bottom, right? So people knew, oh, you do marketing. Okay. And because I really wasn't clear on that. So then, I was completely fine with that. And then I had simple, that's another one that's missing. I had a tagline here that says simple, sustainable. And I can't remember what the third thing was, because I wanted to distinguish myself from other marketing agencies that were all about, kind of selling you ads or selling you graphics or selling you a website. And I wanted to make, again, clarity was always driving me through. And I wanted to make things simple. Simple. I think that was the last word. I wanted to make things simple, and things were not simple. So, but still, I had trouble, and this has been the hardest thing for me, is helping people to understand how marketing automation can help them in their business. Like, marketing automation is kind of like, well, okay, I kind of get it, but not really. So I did, like, I have a new product called Boss Assist, and I did a virtual walkthrough, which some people still have problems with. But I was just struggling with, like, how can I articulate what it is that I do in a way that will make people want to learn more. And so my brother came over one day, and he peeked into my office. He had not really been in my office before. So he peeked in the door, and he was like, looked around, and he was like, so this is where the magic happens. And I was like, you're right. That is where the magic happens. But I didn't really make the automation connection. Okay. But then when I started thinking about how can I make this whole marketing automation thing, how do I explain this to people where they go, oh, right. And I thought, you know what, that's it. It's magic. If you can, if you can have your phone answered and send some information to somebody and not have to pull yourself away from what you're doing, it's magic. If you can communicate with people on a consistent basis via email, voice, or text, and you don't have to, pick up the phone or type something out and risk having typos, and you can just send it to them, that's magic. So I thought, you know what? It is. This is where the magic happens. That's what I do. I automate the processes that businesses do around marketing at a systematic level. And then I make it magical because they don't have to worry about it anymore. So that was the transition. The other thing I changed on this logo is I put down here, I actually copied this from one of my clients, but I put down here a reference to the platform because there's two sides. There's two sides for my business. There's kind of like the traditional agency graphic design website, funnels type thing. But then there's also the platform that all those things run on. So I could have clients who are strictly for agency work, or I could have clients, subscription clients, who are just for the platform. And so I thought I should put that it is powered by this other platform so that people understand there's some technology behind what I do to support them in their business. So anyway, that is kind of how my journey on the logos. I'm not sure if this is helpful or not because I couldn't find all the logos. And to be honest, I kind of got caught up in the history. As I was looking through, I was like, oh, I did that. Oh, wow. You know what? That was better than I thought. I could remember. I would be looking at things like this one presentation I did. And I can remember back when I did it thinking, oh God, you know what? I'm just going to have to go with this because it is what it is. And then when I look at today, I go, oh wow, I really did a good job. I did a good job. I didn't give myself credit for that when I did it, but I did a good job. And so that's what I'm saying. You're probably doing a great job. You just don't know it. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you. The answer is yes, you need a logo. The caveat is no, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get started. If you need help, message me. I'm happy to do that. I'll even give you, some opinions or some guidance out for free. I don't have to do your logo. But if you're looking for help to do that, then message me. I'm happy to help. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it was helpful, then share the video. Comment below if it was helpful or not. Let me know whether I'm just out here talking head or if I'm really providing value. And I'll talk to you next time on Lunch with Jewel. Bye for now.